The digital universe is vast and ever-expanding, but beneath its surface lies a hidden realm of darkness and danger, the realm of cybercrime. This phenomenon, barely known a few decades ago, has become a global concern. With the advent of the internet and the proliferation of digital devices, our lives have become increasingly intertwined with the electronic world. But this convenience comes at a cost. The same technology that's made our lives easier has opened new avenues for people to exploit. Criminals have demonstrated their ability to cause significant harm, from stealing sensitive data to disrupting critical infrastructure. Their methods are continually evolving, keeping pace with the rapid technological advancements. Today, the digital battlefield is no longer limited to lone wolf attackers. It involves sophisticated networks spread across the globe, often backed by rogue nations. The circumstances that culminate in the birth of what we know as a hacker may vary wildly. Is it plain curiosity, understanding of the mind, or sheer malicious intent? Do they conceive these crimes as a quest for knowledge, or are they driven by a darker passion for exposing, exploiting, or even annihilating? The reasons vary from one to another, but a streak of patterns prevails. These anonymous marauders have left clear marks in our digital evolution that can be traced back decades. They've unmasked chinks in our electronic armors, stolen invaluable information, and disrupted uniform networks. Their tenacity in challenging laws, their uncanny ability to elude capture, their knack of instilling dread, inciting admiration, and an odd sense of fascination all contribute to the enigma of the person behind the screen. In the annals of digital history, some names visibly stand out, not merely for the magnitude of their deeds, but for their instant association with the narrative of cybercrime in the mainstream. Often called the world's most famous former hacker, Kevin Mitnick's career began at the young age of 16 in his hometown of Los Angeles, California. He was absolutely captivated by the early appeal of the digital world and its thrill. Mitnick devised social engineering techniques to trick individuals into granting him access to their systems. A master of disguise, Mitnick cleverly veiled his activities using aliases, counterfeit IDs, and encryption tools. He claimed his actions were offshoots of his thirst for exciting exploits and not motivated by financial gains or harmful intentions. Mitnick's decade-long legacy involves several high-profile infractions, most notably breaches in corporations like Motorola, Nokia, Sun Microsystems, IBM, and even the Pentagon's defenses. His ability to intercept phone calls, manipulate caller IDs, evade security codes, and steal software and confidential resources branded him a legendary mastermind within online circuits. Kevin's status as the most desired computer criminal began post-1988, when he chanced upon the Digital Equipment Corporation's network and stole their software. Subsequently, he was arrested and sentenced to a year in prison. Once released, Mitnick took off on a 2.5-year crime spree that involved breaching the National Defense Warning System and stealing corporate secrets. Soon, the FBI flagged him as a significant national security and public safety risk. A nationwide chase ensued, spanning several law enforcement agencies, and even included a former hacker turned security consultant named Tsutomu Shimomura. This team tracked and eventually captured him in 1995. Once apprehended, Kevin faced a staggering 14 counts of wire fraud, 8 counts of possession of unauthorized access devices, and a single count of intercepting wire communications. These charges were to potentially lead him to a sentence of 200 years in prison. However, in a bid to avoid this, he pleaded guilty to 7 counts of fraud, leading to a 5-year imprisonment that included 8 months in solitary confinement. His release conditions included a 3-year probation that prohibited the use of computers or communication devices. Mitnick's narrative transformed after the year 2000, when he emerged as what he called a reformed man. Transitioning into a cybersecurity consultant, he began his firm and authored books, becoming a noted speaker and media figure. Today, he's regarded as one of the leading global experts in digital security and mitigation. Born in 1981 in the concrete heartlands of Boston, Massachusetts, Adrien Lammo, a self-proclaimed hacker, began his affair at the tender age of 12. Lammo was as notorious for his transient lifestyle, alternating between the streets and abandoned buildings, as he was for his infamous career in online crime. From libraries and coffee shops to universities, any place with an internet connection became an immediate base for his activities. Much like an unusual artist, Lammo professed to perform for pure amusement and exploration, discarding any notions of profit or fame. Often, he would exploit a system, breach its security, and subsequently contact the targeted company, revealing their vulnerabilities and willingly helping them fix these chinks. His strange practice garnered significant notoriety, accentuated by his hack in 2002. This involved intruding the internal confines of the New York Times. Lammo accessed the personnel databases of over 3,000 journalists and contributors, unmasking critical and confidential information like names and social security numbers of eminent figures, including Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey. Further adding to his rather reckless move, he listed himself as a contact for the newspaper quite unabashedly. News regarding his exploits reached the authorities after Lammo boastfully revealed his masterpiece to a security-focused reporter. Consequently, he was arrested in 2003, charged with computer fraud, and sentenced to probation, accompanied by a whopping fine of nearly $65,000. He was obligated to repay damages to the companies he infiltrated. After his arrest, Lammo remained active in the scene, but also transitioned into an informant for the FBI. Notably, he was involved in the controversial Chelsea Manning case. Manning was a former U.S. Army intelligence analyst who divulged classified documents to WikiLeaks. Having earned Manning's faith, Lammo was the one she confided in about her actions, who went on to report her to the FBI, leading to Manning's arrest in 2010 and her subsequent ruling of a 35-year sentence, which President Barack Obama later commuted to 7 years. His role in this saga evoked the ire of several hackers and activists who considered his actions a betrayal. However, Lammo defended himself, claiming his choices concerned national security and lives at stake. The chapter of Lammo concluded in 2018 when he passed away at 37. His cause of death was not officially stated, but his father commented on his son's struggles with Asperger's syndrome and depression. He remains a chapter in the annals of the cyberworld's history, remembered as a brilliant soul whose life was shrouded in isolation. Albert Gonzalez, a native of Miami, Florida, born in 1981, took his plunge into the hacker world at 14. Driven by ambitions of fame and wealth, Gonzalez used his precocious skills to steal individuals' banking card data, personal information, and even infiltrate their physical accounts. Guiding the Shadow Crew Group, an international collective of over 4,000 members, Gonzalez also extended his connections with cliques outside the United States, like Max Vision in Turkey and Carter Planet in Ukraine. His most notorious data heist occurred between 2005 and 2007, when Albert and his accomplices harvested over 170 million credit and ATM card numbers from notable retailers such as TJX, Office Max, and Dave & Buster's. Employing a wide array of complex techniques, Gonzalez and the crew successfully bypassed these retailers' wireless networks and databases. The stolen card data was then sold on the dark web to people who used them for fraudulent purchases. Consequently, Gonzalez was apprehended in 2008 after a 2-year investigation by the U.S. Secret Services. He was detained in a Miami hotel room with $1.6 million hard cash hidden under his bed. Remorseful of his actions in prison, Gonzalez expressed a desire to prevent future crimes on his release in 2025. He pled guilty to all 19 charges of conspiracy, computer, wire, and access device fraud, as well as aggravated identity theft, leading to an astonishing 20-year imprisonment. Now, we've also an unending chronicle of devious and devastating cyber heists that have shocked the world throughout the young history of the electronic revolution. June of 2021 bore witness to just one of these events: a posting of a file consisting of an astonishing 8.4 billion passwords on a popular digital forum. Named the Rocku 2021 file, this data breach was unparalleled in scale, surpassing the previous record of 3.2 billion passwords leaked. The poster claimed that the passwords were hashed, implying they were encrypted using a one-way function that makes them hard to crack. However, This was later debunked by security experts who discovered these passwords were in plain text, rendering them easily readable and susceptible to misuse. For millions of internet users, the file threatened their security and privacy. It contained passwords to various online accounts ranging from email and banking to social media and streaming platforms. Furthermore, the file exposed commonly used passwords like 123456, password, and QWERTY, potentially aiding brute force attacks, where pretty much anyone can try different combinations until they find the right one. This highlighted users' precarious digital habits. Many reuse the same password across multiple accounts or prefer using weak, predictable ones that can be easily guessed. These poor practices make users more susceptible to cyber attacks, especially when their information's leaked or stolen. One of the largest internet companies fell prey to a massive data breach in 2014, shaking the global tech community. Over 3 billion Yahoo user accounts were compromised by a group of state-sponsored Russian hackers. This attack also sadly infiltrated the accounts of some of Yahoo's partners, such as AOL, Verizon, and Tumblr. Although the attack occurred that year, it wasn't until 2016 that Yahoo admitted that 500 million accounts were affected. In 2017, it finally broke that the scope of the attack was much more significant than Yahoo originally reported. In fact, all of their held accounts were compromised, a momentous revelation that marked it as the most effective data breach in history. The attack threw a monkey wrench in the then-pending deal between Yahoo and Verizon, who had agreed to purchase Yahoo's core internet business for $4.8 billion in 2016. After disclosing the attack, Verizon lowered its offer by $350 million. It demanded that Yahoo share the legal and regulatory liabilities from the breach. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC for short, initiated an investigation that found Yahoo failed to take adequate security measures. The SEC charged Yahoo with violating federal securities laws, and they agreed to pay $35 million to settle the charges. As we step into the future, we carry two certainties with us. The threats will continue to loom, and their resolution forms the cornerstone of our digital lives. Newer threats will morph out of the old, and our defenses must dynamically evolve to counter them.